strong man shows his hand. She said, I'd say it is in loving that plays us all for fools, that a man may learn to know himself and a strong man learn to choose. Woman, light your light. Come on, show the way. Woman, light your light. Come on, show the way. Back home. She said, I have been broken, but I regained my soul. I've laughed in every heart and cried through every eye. I've walked on through the shadow, unknowing what I knew, and found love for the dying in the newborn baby's cry. She said, precious moments sparkling like the rain, when the sunbeam pierces through the thunder clouds, needing no wisdom, no memory of joy and pain, no frame for their beauty that's shining through you now. Woman, light your light. Come on, show the way. Woman, light your light. Come on, show the way. Back home. She was fate. She was destiny. She took me far beyond the shores of my dreams. She opened to me a sacred world where everything is precisely what it means. I have, during the duration of my career, had the great fortune to play with some of the world's greatest musicians. I have also set many stages on fire. This was in Poland, only 3 years ago. And yes, it's quite interesting because they'd stolen my fire helmet the year before. So we had a new one made, and it wasn't properly tested. So that thing got metal fatigue, and the fluid started to come down like this, which is why he decided to get hold of it. But he is a pyromaniac, as we discovered, and he had filled it to the top. So any movement, that was it, the end. Yes. Yeah, lots of things like that. Actually, the fire act itself, when I performed it, it was kind of like a shamanic ritual. It had kind of a different sort of energy from a different part of the human psyche that was involved in it. And when I performed it, it was a kind of magic that came out from different realms. And when you do that on stage, consistently, one of the things that happens, if you do it properly, it starts to enter your daily life. And so, in a realistic sense, you could say that when Fire hit the top of the charts, and the album too was in the top 10, on both sides of it actually, it began to burn my own life. And it happened in a strange way. What happened was that I'd get back from gigs, and there would already be maybe 30 people in my room. In those days, health and safety and all of that didn't exist, so you could find a way into somebody's room quite easily. So they'd be sitting there, and because the album was about, fire, spirit, all of that, they would ask me questions about life, death, and the meaning of everything, and I would give them very good answers. And after about 3 weeks, I felt like Jack the Lion. I thought, hey, I'm pop star, top of the charts, and now I'm a spiritual figure. Whoa, way, life's great. And then one afternoon I sat on my bed and I looked at it all and I thought, actually, a bit of a fraud. I don't know much about any of that in a true sense. So what am I going to do about it? And I decided I would go and find out all those things. And it led to 45 years of going into different spiritual traditions around the world and in the different cultures, whether it was traditions that were to do with martial arts, Qigong, Tai Chi, that kind of area, which involvements with Korean masters and Chinese masters, or going through the Native American vision quests, or the hallucinogenic quests with ayahuasca and all those things, or the Druids, they were pretty strong. And then I thought, well, that's all very well, but all the different sorts of meditation. So I went through all of those, and then in 1994, decided to bring an American band over. I was living in Texas, and had a very long tour, and towards the end of the tour, at a gig in Southend, in a room that was very small, had no windows, and it was a very hot night and it was very full, I managed to get a brain hemorrhage on the high note of Fire. We have a recording of it, it's very good. And yeah, and what happens to you, one of the things that happens to you with that is all your functions come out very slowly. So you start up walking, it's like shuffling. And one of the last things to come back is your sense of humour, or at least in my case. It may not have come back fully, actually, you never know. But one of the things that happened in the middle of it was that I entered a time when I couldn't get outside the present moment. I couldn't think of the future or the past. And it was such a wonderful thing that when all my functions came back and everything got complicated again, I found I was no longer interested in all the complex ideas of, you know, awareness and all of this. I wanted to find this simple approach. And one of the gentlemen who was a self-proclaimed expert in this area, he said to me, well, you just have to face it, you know. It's the same thing that makes you want to have advanced awareness that sends you out on a Friday night looking for pussy. And I thought, well, that's a bit radical. But maybe he's right. And so eventually I ended up in Portugal. And there I met this woman, and that first song that I sang just before that was to do with that. And it kind of made everything simple. And then I woke up in a yurt in the middle on a hill with no electricity and no water. That's really an interesting thing to wake up to. And you just find a way to live. And I found a way to live. And I moved into Lewis. Oh yeah, this is the lady who said to me, so you've realized that the mind will never stop asking questions. It's infinite. Is that enough for you? Well, I said no. She said, well then, why don't you just not listen to it? And so I'd spent 2 years not listening to it. And it was after that I ended up in a yurt. And now I live in a yurt in Lewis, and I'm kind of involved with stopping developers pulling down the warehouses. Yeah, it's interesting really. And I'm still trying to get a grip on my life, aren't I, really? I mean, life's a funny thing. You know, you have all of this immediate stuff here that's happening now, and then you have your own idea of what life is. And that's sometimes I really seem very important. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Brown.
Oh, it's you again.
I see you've entered into the realm of wondering what life really is. Life, the universe, the meaning of everything.
Oh, that's very good of you.
How about we get into the neuron pathways? Just go around.
Okay.
Yeah. Come on. Such a wonderful life. Such an interesting life.
Trying new ways with chaos, pulling down the apartment blocks, putting up the eco-frame. Toilets composting the old ideas of the entrepreneurial game. Rooms of mud and straw bale structures with powered grassroots souls. Houses that breathe solar futures, power hungry for old-fashioned gold. I'm not scared to breathe in the air. I know the unknown and the unknown knows me. Turn my face and stare into space. I know the unknown and the unknown knows me. Mind over matter is a practiced art. Statistics a weapon of war. Towers of powers throw a shadow in our heart and keep the bruises sore. It's all one world, just one universe. There's only just one soul. There's only just one human race that will boldly go and go. Well, I'm not scared to breathe in the air. I know the unknown and the unknown knows me. Turn my face and stare into space. I know the unknown and the unknown knows me. Nature is our houses, nature is our streets. There is a wild beauty